Force Regenerator. I never heard that one.
Go for it. Hey, you guys.
Awesome. Do I get a mic? Or do I just like this?
You're a little louder than me.
Okay, I can project.
He's going to project.
I'm a professional.
We're both professionals.
Yes.
Hey, you guys. I'm Christina. And this is Dan.
I'm Dan, the Life Force Regenerator. I never heard that one. Is that a stick? Is it going to stick?
And so today we're doing a collab fun recipe. A year ago I made carrot cupcakes for my birthday, and when they asked us if we wanted to do something together, we said it'd be really awesome if we made our own fully raw, life-regenerating carrot cupcakes. So that's exactly what we're going to make for you today. Many people know that Dan and I don't always use a lot of nuts and seeds in our recipes. We prefer the life foods. We prefer juices, fruits, vegetables, not oils, no salts, very simple. So today we really want to emphasize that these cupcakes are going to be a lower fat type of cupcake for you. Maybe it would be the only fat that you have in your day. It's not a nut burger. Hopefully it won't make you feel too heavy, but we've kind of done a nice mix of being able to use enough sweet and fruit and veggie to make it taste really awesome. So
it's a little bit weird, huh?
It's weird. Is that a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's what we're going to do. Do you have anything to add though?
No, let's just have some fun. Christina's usually a little bit lower fat than I am, so what we did is we took her super low fat and we made my medium low fat and threw some walnuts in there because I like the walnut texture. And so we'll explain everything as we go along here. Are we going to do this? And
we can do that.
Whoa. Boom.
Am I going to start singing while I do this now that I have a microphone? No.
Where is our stuff? So we are very well organized, so just bear with us. There it is.
So I'll go ahead and I'll start with, this is really actually a very easy carrot cupcake. And if you need something to reference for a recipe, there is always the YouTube channel. But since we're making our own special twist, you'll need a food processor and you'll need a Vitamix. And so Dan is actually like a master at the food processor.
And the Vitamix.
And the Vitamix. But he showed me a cool trick with the food processor this morning, which was pretty awesome.
What about the cinnamon?
That
a couple of cool tricks.
Oh yeah, a couple of cool tricks.
I'll throw that in right now. Hey, the best way to make cinnamon is get the sticks, toss it into your Vitamix, make the cinnamon fresh right there. The oils have a lot more flavor. After the oils sit, they go rancid quite quickly in the cinnamon and it loses that flavor. So fresh cinnamon right there, just take a stick, throw it in, turn it on high, leave it for a minute or so, and you got some nice fresh cinnamon. The best. Yeah. Oh, Lord have mercy. So do you want me to cut these up?
The first thing that we're going to do, and we did, is we cut the tops off of all of the carrots. So we're going to make this recipe in 3 steps. We're first going to shred the carrots in the food processor.
I need a knife.
Do you want this one?
Yeah. Can you do it without the knife?
Yeah.
You can just use your hand. I can cut these while you MC.
All right. So basically the first thing that we're doing is we're going to cut the carrot tops off, and then we're going to shred them in the food processor. And the reason for this is as you let them sit, they kind of dry out a little bit. And you don't want to make the crust of your carrot cupcake first off the bat because then it gets really a little too moist. So we're going to go ahead and shred all of the carrots into the food processor.
A shredder blade in the kitchen. So we may have to. We could do a makeshift. Yeah.
We're going to do makeshift.
The best, quickest way is to shred them first. Everybody knows about the shredder blade, the Cuisinart, right? Who's got one? Who wants one? Yeah, you should get one. They're very convenient to play with the raw foods. We took it and we shredded them. And then we took them out because we made a huge bowl. So we made like 200 cupcakes. And then we just took the shreds and then threw them in with the rest of the ingredients. Today what I'll do, since we have a smaller amount of ingredients, is I'll just cut the carrots really small. The smaller that you cut your harder vegetables, I mean, I would even go smaller than that because like when I make crackers, if you throw them in like that, it takes forever, you know what I mean? So, but if you go, if you get them as small as you can, take a couple extra minutes, it'll shred up a lot faster in the S-blade, and then there won't be these large chunks when you're done making your crackers. You got to pull out big chunks of carrots and things. So it's a good idea with the celery or the cucumbers or the carrots.
Awesome.
Is it the S-blade or the
Yes.
shredder blade?
This is the S blade. We're gonna improvise right now.
Yeah.
I think she's on her way with the shredder blade. So we're gonna go ahead
Awesome.
do that
And
for this
of course, we need the stem.
Oh, gosh.
Now.
Well, we can keep talking.
Yeah, this is cool. We got a little bit of time. How is everybody today? It's so fun to work with Christina. We make an awesome team. It's like fluid flow. We go to the store. You get the dates. I'll get the carrots. It was so much fun. And
It's like teamwork.
Word. Yeah, this
All right.
is awesome. Fun.
So I actually want to take a quick minute and ask people, how many people would say eat here a lower fat, like lower nuts and seeds, like fully raw living? How many people do a higher fat? Okay. So we're going to be appealing to both audiences here, which is actually awesome.
I'll throw in there that, it just depends. Are you in the detox phase? Are you in the building phase? The warmth of the nuts and seeds, a little bit warmer. And there's other times where you're prepping for like a water fast, where you would want to take nuts and seeds out completely, all fats, all oils, get the system cleaned out. There's other times where you want the nuts and seeds make the muscles tight. So it's nice to have a broad, diversified education on your raw foods. Using the foods to make them work for you. You use the food as medicine to create what you want, more muscle or more energy or more cardiovascular, so you can play with the different raw foods.
It's a foodication.
Yeah, diversified. All the raw educators have amazing things to share.
So what we're going to do right now is I'm just going to shred the carrots. This is step 1 out of step 3. So we're going to shred the carrots
sweet.
right here. And I would say that if you're just making one batch of carrot cupcakes, okay, so in all honesty, you probably don't want to have more than like 4 or 5 in a sitting, but if you're going to make them for a bunch of people, I would say that maybe you want to go and cook about a half worth in a food processor, which is going to be maybe like 1 pound, 2 pounds of carrots, which is really awesome. If you're making it for like 100 people, 200 people, we use 2 full bags of these carrots.
I think we used 3.
This is our third.
Didn't we get 4?
We got 3.
Oh, okay, so we used 2 to make 200.
Yes.
So one bag of carrots for every.
Since this is just a
100
simple demo,
cupcakes.
I'm just going to go ahead and use these carrots right here just so that I can show you the texture of these carrots. I like carrots. Right. Okay, so the difference between using an S blade and using the shredder blade is this would have probably gotten it really chunky, right? Chunky bits. This is going to make these shreds look a little bit like rice and vermicelli. You guys know what that is. They're just long little strips. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pour these out right here. And you're going to get some chunky parts. You may have to take those out. It just
What we can do is just actually work the S blade down in there.
We can do that. Man hand.
If you have, sometimes you can't do that with certain things, but with other things that are already shredded, you can work the S blade down on there.
Awesome. Okay, so step 1 complete. We made it. We made it. It's not that bad, right? Okay.
That was the hard part. Oh my goodness.
The next thing that you're going to put in is we're making the carrot cupcake, right? And we don't want it to be too moist. We don't want it to be too dry. I personally like ooey gooey things because it means that it's fresh. But what we're going to do for this, just so that it can have the right type of carrot cake texture, we're going to add in about a cup of walnuts, right? We are going to add in dates. I would say about a half a cup of dates. If it were me, I'd be adding more just because I have a sweet tooth and I love sweet things. So you could do that. Also, what gives it kind of a carroty cake texture is we're going to add a few slices of ginger and then we're going to add a few slices of turmeric. And turmeric gives it this really nice, sweet aftertaste, which is really nice as well.
So just a few slices of ginger in this recipe.
It's got really intense in here with all that beautiful lighting.
Did you peel the ginger?
I didn't.
Do you need to? Or I guess
If it's organic, I usually don't. And you can also grow your own ginger.
If you got time, you want to go super gourmet, it's like peel the carrots, peel the ginger, peel the turmeric. If not, it's like super gourmet for stuff for really brilliant textures. You just peel everything, and it just has this magnificence. Like with the carrot juice, when you peel the carrots, it's a kind of a whole nother level. Has anyone ever noticed that? And when you just throw them in regular, there's a little bit more of that woody taste. So it depends on who you're working for. If it's just you throw everything in there, you do it, you get your, and then you're done.
Something else important to note would be the more carrot that you add, the lower in fat that it will be proportion for you. And it will also be more moist. The less carrot that you add, the less moist it will be. We're gonna add a few raisins in here because carrot cupcakes and things like that, they have raisins. And if you want to mix up the textures, you can actually sprinkle in some raisins after the fact as well. But this will get in quite a bit.
Which is what we did. We took some and we put them in and blended them, and then we took a nice handful and threw those in. You could do the same thing with, I like to do that with the walnuts, is after you've blended some of them in, you take a few so there's some nice walnut chunks, you know,
Absolutely.
texture.
And Dan was explaining earlier that we made fresh cinnamon today. So basically you can actually take the cinnamon stick, you just put it in the Vitamix and you just put it on full speed, and it's really cool to watch. The cinnamon literally just floats here up in the air and just pulverizes into tiny thin pieces. And Dan was saying that it's actually better for you because it keeps all of the cinnamon oil, which is right under the bark. So I've noticed a difference in the taste, and I love cinnamon, so cinnamon has amazing benefits for you. I like cinnamon. Okay, so we've put in our cinnamon, our carrots, our walnuts, our dates, our turmeric, and our ginger, and we're gonna make the base of our carrot cupcake. Ready? And you may want to pulse it a little bit, otherwise it'll get stuck to the bottom. And just a reminder, the more carrot that you add, the more moist it will be. The more nuts that you add, the thicker it will be. So you just have to figure out what kind of texture you really want to have. Can I show them the trick that you showed
I
me
would
earlier?
recommend that you do. She learned and she loved it, and it's so cool. You gotta know this with the
This
food
is
process.
a little abrasive, but I'm just saying, sometimes you gotta, it's machinery, you gotta be forceful with it.
Especially like right now, this is an appropriate amount. But when we were in the kitchen, we were stacking it, and it takes forever, you know, unless you know, you can, there's a tipper, like let me show them a couple little things here. There's this way will knock it down and keep it so you don't have to scoop, you know, and then there's another way where you just go like that.
You can't see it, but all the pieces are falling from the top into the middle, and it shakes it up. And the reason why is because if you ever overflow it, basically what happens, all the pieces stay at the top of your food processor, and then everything gets really soft on the bottom, and then you have to get your spatula, you scoop it around, it takes like another 10 minutes, but I really liked your shaking technique. I think we should develop a little dance to it. Just saying. I'm not the only one who likes to dance in the kitchen. Don't anybody here deny it. We're saying.
Did we get our texture right?
I think we did.
Yeah.
Didn't that look beautiful?
She wanted more texture, and I was leaning towards pulverizing a little bit more and then adding in my stuff in at the end. So the thing is that's so cool about this is you cannot screw it up.
It's going to taste good no matter what texture it is. So it's beautiful here. We're just going to go ahead and we'll put it in our bowl. Scoop it on out. If you want it to be sweeter, you can add more dates. Don't forget to pit the dates. That's important. Otherwise, you're going to have some very chunky, seedy carrot cupcakes.
If anyone's seen my videos, you know those dag blasting date seeds, they'll cost you a $10 smoothie one day. You'll be 2 hours later just, how could I have missed a date pit? So I always say every video, make sure your date pits are removed. You'll ruin your smoothie.
Okay, so we're going to get all this out really quickly right here, and then step 2 of our carrot cupcake will be complete. What do you think, Dan?
It looks right on and righteous.
I think it looks pretty good. All right, so for those of you who can't see, the texture of this is spot on. It's soft, it's moist, it has like fluff to it, right? And if you didn't want to make a cupcake of this, I've actually done this before. You can just take a pie pan, or you can take like a cake pan, and you can put this on the bottom layer, and then you can add like the frosting in the middle, another layer of that. You can just basically layer it and you can make a big cake. But carrot cupcakes are bite-sized and fun, and kids like them too, so.
This is where you would add your larger walnuts, some raisins, you know,
Yes.
a little extra cinnamon or whatever.
Which, I saved a few.
Good move.
Wait, no,
That
just
would
one.
be one. That's mine. I want that.
Somebody's gonna get the lucky raisin. I'm just saying. Okay, so we're done with the food processor, and we've done 2 steps. And my next favorite part is the icing. Let me go ahead and move this over. How many of you guys like icing? Me too.
Epic.
Can somebody just say icing is sexy? No. That was good. All right, so for the icing, it needs a base, and we do want it to be creamy, so we are going to be using a nut. I chose cashew for this, and I know some people say, oh, cashews really aren't raw. We did get a raw cashew for this recipe, and it is good. You could also try and use something like a walnut or a pecan, but cashew is just really super creamy, and sometimes it's nice to...
Coconut's really epic too. If you take the coconut and the meat and the water and you get it at a nice thick texture, a little bit of lemon juice, boom. Solid, just get it just right. It's a nice,
Beautiful.
smooth icing.
So for this one, I'm going to be making an orange creamsicle icing.
I'm going to repeat that. Coconut, meat, and water, and a little bit of lemon juice, and then some vanilla.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you can do cashew and coconut, and a million other things too. It's unending. It's amazing.
That's perfect.
All you got to remember is to don't turn the stove or the oven on. And you can't mess this up.
Can't mess it up.
You put the cutting board on there, and then you stack your avocados on top of the oven like we do at our house.
That's perfect. Yeah. So this is actually almost too easy. Fresh squeezed orange juice, right? The more that you add, the more liquidy it will be. The less that you add, the less liquidy it will be. I used a lot of orange juice for this coming recipe, but so then as many cashews as you want. I'm only going to use about a cup just
hope that wasn't too much. I was going to say just add a little first, because is that going to do it?
that'll be fine.
You got it.
That'll be awesome.
Cool. Because we just eyeballed this stuff.
Oh,
We didn't have a real technical plan.
This is going to be awesome. And then about a cup of dates. If you want it to be sweeter and thicker, definitely more dates.
So what I will say is that as a tip, for the future, start with more liquid, add just a little bit of nuts, blend it, and then if you add too much, it's like, you got to open another coconut or go to the store and get more orange juice. So you start with more liquid, some nuts, blend, and then you add in your thicker nuts and fats until you get it to the texture you want it, because you can't go backwards in time.
Correct.
Unless you have some kind of magic ability. And then you need to talk to me after the show.
Or make a lot more icing.
Yes. Another thing
That's a good
is
recipe.
that's really good.
Cashew sauce.
Add a slice of vanilla bean in here and some cinnamon. And the cinnamon in this is, feel free to be generous because it tastes really, really good in this.
I think that might have been a little wet when
I got this. All right. So we've got cinnamon, we've got vanilla bean, we've got orange juice, and we've got cashew. We're gonna blend it up.
Did we get enough?
And
We're good.
Awesome.
ready? So if I can recommend one thing, if it's above this line, I promise it's probably gonna burn out your Vitamix. So I'll show you the step. It's gonna look really easy at first, but it's gonna get really, really thick until basically all the oil from that water gonna come out. So you just gotta let it go smooth, and then we gotta do the shake trick. Shake it out. A little bit. If you need to add a little bit more juice, which we don't have, you can always add some water. Or some coconut water.
Duh. Jeez, Christina.
It was just a cup.
No, we did so close. We did it. We almost got it. Oh, pure water right here.
Oh.
Just for demonstration purposes, we don't recommend watering down your frosting at home,
I can
folks.
show you the texture.
Yeah, hook it up just a little bit.
Perfect.
Let's try that.
So we added literally maybe a tablespoon of water.
So you're the lady that wants the cashew soup. Here you go.
Definitely gonna need the taste. And it's gonna come out a little chunky, but the longer you let it run, it'll get super, super good.
Ideally, you want it to be a little thicker, so you want to work with it a little bit. This one here was a little thinner than probably you would normally do it.
But you don't want it chunky and frosted. You want something that's kind of smooth. Awesome. So when you're done with it, it's going to look like a whipped frappe type of frosting at the end here. And normally what I would do is I would recommend to somebody, hey, if you have a piping bag, they're literally like $2 at the store. You can get a piping bag. But if you need to improvise, what I did is I literally took a Ziploc bag, I cut off the corner.
Oh, we're good.
I put all of the cashew icing inside. It's just basically like a bag of icing. And then you can, what you will do, Dan, would you like to do the honors of creating the perfect scoop?
So this one cool way. I mean, you can spread it on a pan and spat it down and cut it into squares. That's kind of what I like to do and make these big fatty cakes, you know. But this one here, for the demonstration purposes, we got the little ice cream scoop. And then what I did is just went up along the side of the bowl there. And then I used the knife, actually. I had this perfected by the end of the deal. But I go over here like this, and I tamp it down a little bit to get it nice and smooth so it makes a nice ball. And then the most brilliant awesomeness. And then if you really want to get technical, what I was doing was just getting it nice. If you're going to be presenting it, you may want to make it just epically perfect.
Yeah.
And then frosting these.
All right, this is my favorite part. And if you want to put it in like a cupcake holder, you can do that as well, and you can bring it to like parties and whatnot. It's really easy. You can just spread it on top like it does, like that, right? Or you can just do like a, you know, something pretty.
Cool.
Whatever you want, and that's it. Carrot cupcake and your easy steps.
So we've got, they're going around. It looks like, cool, yeah.
You like?
Oh, everybody likes? Those, remember folks, are the fully raw, life-regenerating carrot cupcakes. Can we get an amen?
Amen.
The Church of Raw Foods. So now we want to talk about health, right?
Now we can actually talk about what we're...
This person is healthy. She inspires me. The colors, the creativity.
Thank you, Dan.
You as a person, you are one of my top inspirations in this world.
That's...
I want to be like you.
I want to be like you. Thank you, Dan. That's very sweet.
We missed some of the ingredients. It's carrots, dates, raisins, and whatever.
Walnuts, cinnamon, ginger, turmeric. All fresh.
And like I always say on my videos, you know, play. You know, some people like sea salt. Some people like a little bit of vanilla inside. And then it goes on and on. There's so many things you can do once you have that base. People have their preferences, you know. And then you can just play with that base that we provided you with today. Your kids might like it a little bit more with some of the sea salt in it, you know what I mean? A little bit more dates. Honey works if you're into that kind of thing too, you know?
You know, I always tell people that Dan's one of my best friends because I think what we really do have in common is even though you can say, hey, it's okay to experiment, simple is typically always best.
Always best.
Right? So a lot of people worry about getting stomach aches or having health issues when they eat these types of things. And I do always say simple is best. The best smoothies sometimes only have 3 ingredients in them. The best things that you make actually sometimes are more. And if you want to make them more flavorful, try and stay away from using salts or oils, if I could recommend that. There's always fresh herbs or roots like ginger, turmeric that can really create a lot of flavor without adding fat, without adding condiments, without adding things that are one step more man processed. You want to make something that is as natural as possible, right? So if you were going to grab an apple from the tree, that would be perfectly ideal, right? So you want to make it as fresh and clean as you can.
I think that the way that you do eat is the best. But I also realize time and time and time again with kids, clients, visitors, they're just, sometimes it's too simple. And they're like, oh, this raw food thing, I couldn't do it. So my videos are kind of one thing. It's like, yo, check this out. This is what can be done. And then as you go up the ladder and your taste buds change and your consciousness changes and your energy changes, you just evolve and you're like, I just can't eat that many nuts anymore. The salt just isn't working. It's just like I feel best with just lettuce and tomatoes. It's one of my favorite meals. Lettuce and cherry tomatoes. Clean, delicious, but a lot of people coming from the standard way or whatever, that's depressing to them. You can't let that happen. So like she said, you know, the fresh, clean, unaltered, no salt, no condiments, because what you're trying to do is regenerate your brain and your taste buds back to being able to appreciate that simplicity. And the neurons do get, they get stimulated after many years on the normal foods. And then as you're transitioning, you're getting them, a little bit of salt is better than MSG, right? And so we're working our way back to that kind of Arnold Ehret, like fruits and leafy greens. If you get to the place where you are eating the fruits and the leafy greens and you're thriving, that's a very good place. Maybe small amounts of nuts and seeds for the athletes. And that's sort of the ultimate ideal, because then you're satisfied with less and the likelihood of overeating is diminished, because the simpler that you eat it with 2 or 3 ingredients, the appestat shuts off. But the more tastes and flavors, the more you're likely to eat. And that leads to, of course, overeating, sluggishness, and then you don't reach your goals with the raw foods.
Right. So something to bring that back to would be, okay, so if people feel the need to add condiments, feel the need to add more flavor, always try and source the best food possible. Because sometimes buying like the most deliciously ripe tomatoes, like truly fresh ingredients, ripe ingredients, makes a world of difference in how your taste buds will respond and how satisfied you're going to feel and how much you're actually going to enjoy the food. So always try and get or eat right and fresh. And I think most of you here live in California, so getting local, you guys are blessed. There's farmers markets all over the place. I come from Texas, and I have to do a little bit of mingling now and then. Even though I run a co-op and I have to source food, you guys are lucky. You're blessed. Use your resources here, because I know you have good tomatoes.
We are blessed because you have a co-op, and so I always keep that in mind. I know that people are up in Canada and they're like, oh yeah, you guys, you know what I'm saying? So we do get that. There's a huge difference between a Safeway tomato and then a summer heirloom that just got picked a day or two before, that's popping with flavor, vine ripened. You're like, what would I ever need salt or olive oil for? So it's just really actually loving yourself enough to want to do this raw food thing is going to be investing your money into the best and the freshest, because that's going to be you. That's going to open the channels of abundance, and you treating yourself that way, the universe is going to treat you. You're going to be served with the finances to make this kind of thing happen. So we're very blessed where you live and I live, and so we want to keep that in mind, to get the best you can, because it's true. There's one tomato that just doesn't need anything, and you make a tomato sauce out of it, and it's just blasting with flavor. And there's other tomatoes that tastes like cardboard, and it's depressing, So.
So absolutely.
Yes.
Do we have any questions?
Q&A. What up?
It's about the recipe. So I wanted to make these cupcakes for my friends. My best friend is highly allergic, like deathly allergic to dates. What would you good substitute for the sweetness?
I can answer. You can also use dried figs.
Could you repeat the question?
Oh, the question was that she has a friend who's deathly allergic to dates. What can we replace that would have a similar taste, a similar consistency, and a similar sweetness? You can use 2 things. We use raisins, so basically you could pump up the raisin, because it's going to give you a similar type of texture. You could also use a dried fig. And so...
Also, apricots would work good.
Mulberries? Thank you.
I wonder if mulberries would work.
I have never found a mulberry, dried mulberry in Texas, so it just depends on where you can find them. And so, yes, I think that's awesome. And something else that I want to add about this recipe is that we were given an hour and we just made it for you in 10 minutes.
You know what else?
That's actually a good thing. It's such an easy, delicious recipe that it literally won't take you any time at all.
Honey would be good too. You know what I'm saying? Some good, high quality raw honey. Boom. Give it a nice texture too. More questions, please.
That must have been a really good recipe.
Question, have you ever dehydrated it?
I have not.
More crunchy, more like...
I personally just don't dehydrate anything. It never makes it to the dehydrator. And I always say that fresh is best. Only because it's, Dan will agree with me on this. I think of my body as a